The Gen AI is another turning point. It's just crazy what's going on. And I just get the feeling that we're in the first inning of a very long ball game.
Yeah, and I think if you're in a customer's shoes, it's really crazy to think about.
What has Siemens and AWS collaboration, what has that meant to you and the folks at AWS?
It's really an exciting time in our partnership in the industry. Through our strategic collaboration, we've supported Siemens' SaaS transformation and their journey. It's a great time, both for Siemens, AWS, and the industry, and that's also true with respect to generative AI.
Hello and welcome. This is Siemens Cloud Talk Today, the podcast that touches on everything cloud and how the cloud accelerates digital transformation. Sure, we'll be talking about the latest innovations, but the cloud can mean different things to different people, which is why we've gathered here today. Welcome. I'm your host, Scott Salzwedel. Listeners, a special thank you for joining us on this, our very first episode of Cloud Talk Today. Where to begin? Chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you have some familiarity with the cloud. Perhaps you're already in the cloud realizing some amazing advantages. So the one thing you may not know is the deep and highly productive collaboration that's been going on between Siemens and AWS. And that's the focus of today's podcast. It's to introduce you to the value add our partnership brings to the marketplace, how we're helping customers move to the cloud, how we're keeping up with the latest technologies like Gen AI and the industrial metaverse. So joining me today are Bryson Spencer of Siemens and Bob Tomasabi of AWS. Welcome, gentlemen, to the inaugural episode of Cloud Talk Today.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
So, Bryson, let's start with you. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do at Siemens?
Yeah, happy to. Like you had mentioned, I'm with Siemens, and the group that I work with is called Digital Industry Software. My job is essentially to make sure that our overall collaboration goes well, and we execute against some of the joint commitments we made together about 3 years ago when we signed what's called the Strategic Collaboration Agreement. And that agreement really spans a number of different commitments, from product development to joint marketing. Our teams are out there working with customers together. And we also both committed to some training milestones that allow our teams to gain expertise in cloud and for AWS to gain some domain expertise from Siemens, which is one of the OT leaders in our space. So that's really what I do here at Siemens.
Wow, you definitely have your full plate of things to do, no question about it. So since it's summer and we've just celebrated the 4th of July, I was wondering if you might share your favorite childhood memory of summer.
I think as of the day we're recording this, we're in July, which is really one of my favorite months of the summer. I grew up in Massachusetts near Plymouth, which is lovingly known as America's hometown. So July is finally when we start getting pretty consistent weather in the summer, and I've always just loved going to the beach. So as a kid and still today, I loved having a good beach day, and July 4th is when we do our Independence Day. So it's really a great time of year to be in this area of the country where there's fireworks and festivities and all kinds of stuff to really have fun. That's one of my favorites, is just enjoying the beach and July 4th in the summer.
Sounds wonderful. Do you get back to that beach as an adult?
I do. I actually loved it so much I decided to live here permanently as an adult too. So I'm back in Massachusetts myself now.
Well, someday I'd like to see you do a cannonball in the water.
There you go.
Okay, wonderful. Bob, welcome to the podcast. It's an honor to have you here. Could you please introduce yourself and tell us what you do at AWS?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Scott. So I lead AWS's largest and most strategic technology partnerships in the automotive and manufacturing industries within our partner organization. And as part of our strategic collaboration with Siemens, my team supports Siemens Digital Industry Software in building, marketing, and selling their software portfolio on AWS. So we work very, very closely with Bryson and the entire digital industry software team on our partnership and the value that we bring to our customers.
And now it's your turn. I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Bryson. What's your favorite summertime memory as a kid?
Well, I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area and actually live in the area still today. And anyone who spent any time in the DC area during the summer months knows that the month of July is pretty hot and humid. Some would say oppressively so. When I was a kid, I loved actually splitting my time between the tennis courts and the soccer field and playing basketball and jumping into the pool, topping that off by cooling off even more in the evening, enjoying a nice scoop of ice cream, something that I still enjoy doing over the summer months with my family. And then on the 4th of July, given the big fireworks that happen on the National Mall, I used to go downtown and watch those fireworks and enjoy the 4th of July celebration. And that's a tradition that myself, my wife, the family, we try to keep even now.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. That's so cool that you can keep that going to this day. Bryson, let's get after it. First question I have for you is, how would you describe the collaboration between Siemens and AWS?
I think it's been really interesting part of my career. Been with Siemens for, I guess, going on 14 years now. And the last 3 have been dedicated to help manage and lead this partnership. And the catalyst to our partnership was that Siemens announced to the capital markets in 2021 that we were moving our software business to a SaaS business. And, our most strategic partner on that journey was AWS. And it was at that time that I took this role and really got to be part of how to, 2 big organizations, the leader in cloud being AWS and the leader in industrial software, come together and figure out what should a partnership look like? What is it that the 2 of us should do on the behalf of customers to go figure out how to make their digital transformation journey better? So that's really what we set out to do, was transform our company to SaaS and help make our software, more easy to use, more accessible, more scalable with the help of AWS. And, it's been an amazing journey up to this point. We've launched lots of solutions, and we've also left room together to tackle new challenges. Like you had mentioned earlier, Scott, the latest word is AI and Gen AI. We've worked on things like IoT and autonomous driving solutions and low code. So there's been, some real focus areas around SaaS. But what's been interesting as time's gone on is that we've found new innovations to work on together and ways to make our customers' lives easier. So far, really successful and exciting every day.
Definitely. Yes, the Gen AI is just another turning point. It's just crazy what's going on. And I just get the feeling that we're in the first inning of a very long ball game.
Yeah, and I think if you're in a customer's shoes, it's really crazy to think about the amount and the speed at which new technology is coming at customers while they're trying to figure out, the core mission that they're trying to achieve. And part of what we try to do is take this new tech and make it industrial grade for our customers so they can pick it up and use it right away.
Definitely. Okay, so Bryson, looking back over this past year, what would you say are the partnership's major highlights?
Over the past 3 years, like, you kind of build a rhythm right through the different months and different seasons. And the rhythm of our partnership starts around December with AWS's reInvent conference. For us this past year, AWS awarded us with the Industrial and Manufacturing Partner of the Year award and the Design Partner of the Year award for our leadership in that vertical, and then our Siemens Accelerator as a service offering. So for me personally, that was a great moment for us to be recognized within the AWS community as a global partner of the year. But also it was great for us to have our CEO, Tony Helmegarn, for software, and the digital industry factory automation CEO, Ryan Abrem, on stage. And they covered topics like SaaS and how we're leveraging AI with AWS. And then on the topics of IT/OT convergence, Ryan was able to cover some of the innovative things that the factory automation teams are doing. So December was really a highlight at reInvent for me. And then if you roll into the new year, at CES, we had Roland Busch on our Siemens AG CEO on stage during the keynote. And he was actually able to bring Matt Wood on board during his keynote and talk about the integration we had with Mendix and Bedrock. And the takeaway there was that we're democratizing AI using low code via the Mendix platform. And it was just great to see those 2 leaders on stage showing customers the results of our collaboration together. And then if we move into March and April, for me, we have a pretty significant customer event called the Innovation Leadership Summit, where we get to spend 2 days with some of the executives of our top customers, talking about what their needs are and the accomplishments and challenges they've had. And AWS is a big sponsor there. So we get to understand intimately some of the challenges that they have and how we can help. So that brings us to March and April. And then in May, I'll just finish off with we launched Team Center X Essentials, which is really a flagship launch for our partnership, bringing our leading PLM solution to the small and medium sized enterprise companies so that they can take advantage of some of the power that some of the enterprise companies have only had access to in the past. So
Yeah, it's just amazing. Team Center is now on the cloud. It was such a powerful piece of software before. Just imagine what it must do today. It's pretty crazy. You're touching on all these shows, and it's great. And we're going to dive into the shows a little bit more later on in the podcast. But I want to get Bob in here on AWS and his side of the story. So, Bob, what has Siemens and AWS collaboration? What has that meant to you and the folks at AWS? I mean, what stands out the most so far this year?
It's really an exciting time in our partnership in the industry, right? And I'm just kind of building off of some of the comments that Bryson mentioned earlier. Through our strategic collaboration, we've supported Siemens' SaaS transformation and their journey to develop a full suite of industrial software applications on AWS under the Siemens Accelerator brand. These SaaS solutions are being adopted by customers across a variety of different industries who are leveraging these technologies on AWS to innovate faster, increase productivity, be more sustainable, and ultimately serve their customers better. And Bryson also touched on we're not stopping there, right? Jointly, AWS and Siemens continue to look for areas for expanded collaboration and innovation. Some of the examples that we touched on are AI, industrial metaverse, IoT, low code, edge, and electronic design automation or EDA. We've also executed a successful awareness campaign called Create Without Limits, which has accelerated awareness of our partnership benefits to target personas from 18% to 73%. Just an absolute amazing accomplishment by the teams.
Yeah, it's been very successful for sure.
And then, we touched on the global events that we do annually. This past year, I think we did over 30 global events together to drive demand for our joint products and solutions. Typically, at these events, we talk about some of our latest innovations to bring IT and OT together for the benefit of our customers. We also highlight customer stories who have realized sizable benefits from adopting Siemens solutions on AWS, which is really exciting. And then finally, speaking of solutions, we've worked together to bring 36 Siemens solutions available in the AWS marketplace, simplifying procurement and deployment of these solutions on AWS, which has been really exciting. We're seeing more and more customers actually buy Siemens solutions through AWS Marketplace, which has been a great addition to our partnership and how do we go to market together.
We've been talking about some of the shows that we've done together. The partnership in action is just something to behold. It's just pretty amazing, the technology that's on display. So let's revisit some of those bigger shows Bryson had kind of alluded to. But Bob, I want to get your take on reInvent 2024 because that is an annual AWS show. So what was your takeaway at this year's reInvent?
reInvent is really AWS's marquee conference, right? We have new products, partnerships, and customer success stories that get announced. It's really the ideal venue for Siemens and Mendix to meet with customers and discuss the benefits of our strong collaboration. During reInvent 2023, which happened at the end of November, early December 2023, Siemens had a really strong presence in the industry pavilion as one of our top manufacturing partners. Bryson touched on Tony Hemmelgarn, the Siemens DI Software CEO, presenting at our automotive and manufacturing breakout session on the collaboration, what we're bringing to market together, and what customers are seeing in terms of benefits from those solutions. With Gen AI, there was some announcements and excitement around the Amazon Bedrock connector for Mendix. reInvent is also a platform for AWS C-level keynotes and AWS announcements. In previous years, Siemens has been on the AWS CEO keynote stage, showcasing space perspective, for example, and how Siemens technologies on AWS have accelerated design and testing of their unique space tourism experience on board their spaceship Neptune. So it's really been a great venue again for elevating awareness of the partnership, the solutions that are being built, customers that are adopting these solutions, and the benefits that we're jointly bringing to various industries. It's been really exciting.
This is so cool you mentioned Space Perspective because we have done a lot with them, and it's just amazing what they offer. The tourism into space is just a powerful thing for all of us to launch into space and get a different perspective. So very cool. So yeah, there was reInvent. That was a big show in Las Vegas, and then there was another big show in Las Vegas, and that was the Consumer Electronics Show, or CES. I know we had a huge presence. So Bryson, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, I touched on it earlier, but part of what our overall partnership with AWS about is really taking enterprise capabilities and making them easier for enterprises, right? More accessible and scalable through the use of cloud, but also bringing them into the medium enterprise customers who previously didn't have access to some of these tool sets. And that's also applicable for Mendix. What we're trying to do is democratize application development, and through the integration with Amazon Bedrock, democratize the use of AI in applications. I think that was the major message here, was that AI becomes accessible for the OT audience and folks who may not have coding expertise using low-code tools like Mendix. So I just think it was great to see not only what we're doing together, but there was an example with a customer, Vivix, who's the largest glass manufacturer in Brazil, using it to infuse AI into applications for the shop floor persona, and really saw a great increase in productivity, and I think a pretty significant reduction in the time to resolve production issues as well. So encourage our listeners really to go look that use case up. And I know Scott, with your help, published a number of blogs about the activity there.
Yes, there's plenty of blogs for sure. And, it's interesting. The Mendix and AWS collaboration together has really opened the door for AI and for users to really get a good grip on what AI can do for them with the partnership, the capabilities that we provide. So yeah, the CES was really amazing this year. We had Siemens' own Roland Bush. He gave a keynote at CES. And I just want our listeners to know that they can watch Roland Bush on a YouTube channel. And Roland Bush, that's Bush, Busch, of Siemens. But I also want to move forward. In Germany, we had the Hanover Messe Fair, and that's a huge international show that highlights industry and manufacturing. So, Bryson, you touched on it, but what was your takeaway with this year's Hanover Messe?
Again, I have to credit you with a really powerful blog that captures the whole event. To me, year 3 of our collaboration, we've gone broad and deep in lots of topics. And, a couple examples from Hanover this year that I'm particularly excited about is, the world's moving towards more sustainable industry. And one of those areas that we're partnered on is battery, and tackling problems for customers around battery design and manufacturing. At Hanover this year, our industry battery lead, Puneet, had worked with AWS and his manager, Dale, and our AWS lead, Maria, were on stage talking about what we're doing together in battery to help increase innovation in the next generation of battery design, but also accelerate customers that are adopting smart manufacturing principles, and how together Siemens Solutions and AWS services are making it easier for battery manufacturers. That came together beautifully in a discussion we had with Toyota on stage, where we talked about their use of our MES software Ops Center on AWS's Outpost, which is a edge device that AWS has a service for. That customers that came to us and said that they wanted Ops Center on Outpost, and we were able to work together as partners to certify it to run there and enable the customer to design a cloud-first strategy for their new battery manufacturing plant. So it's really great to see not only the topics we're working on, but proof points in the market with customers like Toyota. So,
yeah, it's great that we had something going on with Toyota for sure. Bob, you want to jump in here on Hanover Messe? What's your take?
It was a great show, and I think it was a great event for both Siemens and AWS. My main takeaway was that customers from different industries are really looking at industry leaders like Siemens and AWS to show them the way in terms of digitization, sustainability, how do they become more productive, et cetera. And the ability for AWS and Siemens to really cross demo our joint solutions in each other's booths, which we did at Hanover Messe this year, and focus on areas that are really relevant to their business was great. Bryson touched on a couple different areas that were highlights for both of us. Certainly, Mendix low code was an area of focus. We also touched on our work with the factory automation side of Siemens as well and showcased several factory automation solutions. We also showed, back to the Gen AI topic, we showed where we're leading together on Gen AI with both Mendix and the Amazon Bedrock connector and the Vivix story, but also with Teamcenter using Amazon Bedrock. And as Bryson mentioned, there were customer presentations both from Toyota, who's leveraging Siemens Op Center on AWS, and also Vivix, Brazil's largest glass manufacturer, that's using Mendix and the Amazon Bedrock capabilities to reduce operational costs, increase productivity, and improve customer satisfaction. So, folks that went to Hannover Messe got to see the demos and the presentations, really got a sense of what AWS and Siemens are doing together and what are the different areas that our solutions can really help impact their business in a positive way, whether it's a challenge that they're facing or a new opportunity that they're going after.
Yeah, really powerful stuff. Let's take a minute and discuss how Siemens and AWS are working together to bring some of the latest technologies to our customers. I know we've touched on it already, but really let's get into this whole Gen AI thing and Gen AI enabled SaaS. Bob, from an AWS perspective, how is the Gen AI SaaS movement going? What can our customers expect from the Siemens AWS collaboration at this time?
It's a great time, right? Both for Siemens, AWS, and the industry. And that's also true with respect to generative AI. I mean, it burst onto the scene a little over a year ago, and it's already starting to have huge impact. What we see is we have organizations of all different sizes from different industries that are getting started with the technology. They certainly want to capitalize on it, and they're trying to figure out how they transition and translate momentum from proof of concepts, prototypes, and demos to real world innovations and productivity gains. But we hear all the time from customers and partners of AWS, they tell us that they need security and privacy, they need scale and price performance. And again, most importantly, they need relevant solutions to business problems and opportunities. So we really focus on providing enterprise grade security and privacy, a choice of leading foundational models, a data first approach, and the most performant low cost infrastructure. And we work with partners like Siemens to deliver everything they need to accelerate generative AI powered innovation. One example of that I know we talked about earlier was the Mendix Amazon Bedrock connector. And we talked about Vivix. Just double clicking on Vivix a little bit more, they've built 17 applications in 1 year with Mendix and AWS. They've saved 6,000 hours of manual work, and they've reduced customer resolution times from 5 days to less than a day. A chatbot that they've developed, it's dubbed the virtual engineer, gathers product, production, and process data and offers tailored suggestions to the quality and production teams, enabling them to proactively address customer complaints, leading to a 5-hour reduction in time to resolve production issues. So these are real world examples of where Siemens, Mendix, and AWS technologies come together to make huge impact in terms of productivity, resolution of customer complaints, even safety and training issues. Finally, customers can now use AWS's generative AI assistant capabilities in Teamcenter X, Siemens' flagship product lifecycle management solution. This new capability enhances how customers can interact with Teamcenter X using natural language processing. There's more innovation coming there, but really exciting announcement and something that just got launched into the market this summer.
So, Bryson, it's your turn. We hear more and more about this immersive engineering and the industrial metaverse. We've touched on it already. But can you define these two terms? And then what is Siemens and AWS? What are we doing along those lines? I know the industrial metaverse was a huge hit at Hannover Messe.
People have probably more commonly heard the metaverse, right? But the industrial metaverse for us and the industrial space is really, it's about creating a virtual world that allows people to bring the digital and real assets together so that they can collaborate and integrate new sets of data to find problems before they happen in the real world. For this to work, the virtual world has to match and act just like the real world. And Siemens has been investing for decades now in providing customers with the most comprehensive digital twin. And that digital twin goes beyond maybe what people might see in the market as animation, because the Siemens digital twin brings real world physics to these digital assets so that they really do perform in the virtual space just like they would in the real world. And you could almost say that the digital twin is the heart of the industrial metaverse, and it's about letting you fail where it's really inexpensive in the cloud, in an industrial metaverse, before you try to make it in real life, so that it's optimized before you go invest bigger sums of money in making an asset or building a factory or building a building. The industrial metaverse scales up the digital twin like never before, with the access to almost unlimited compute, new sources of IoT data coming from the cloud, and the ability to just give access to users all around the globe, via the cloud. So I'd say our collaboration with AWS is about taking world-leading solutions that we've been providing, or applications from the Siemens portfolio, and then leveraging all the power that comes from the cloud. And every day you hear from the market and from AWS that there's a new, more powerful, more sustainable, and more efficient chip set available. It's really hard for customers to keep up with that in the physical world, but AWS shines in making the latest and greatest technology available in the cloud for customers to use on demand, as they need it. So we try to take those services and leverage them in our applications to provide customers, virtual space that brings together the real world and virtual world, so they can, optimize before they bring it to the real space.
Yes, definitely. The chips, we keep on getting more and more powerful. And I also would think the infrastructure to support the industrial metaverse is key. And so then I'm thinking AWS and their infrastructure must be pretty solid, must be a pretty powerful infrastructure to handle the industrial metaverse. And I just wanted to get Bob's take on AWS, the infrastructure, and how it all comes together. Any thoughts on that, Bob?
AWS really provides that infrastructure and set of services that are being used to power the industrial metaverse that Bryson just spoke about. So we're working pretty closely with Siemens to enable the digital twins in environments using rendering solutions from key industry leaders, including folks like NVIDIA, to show how these digital twins can interact with real world scenarios. We continue to invest in our infrastructure and set of services to bring these new instances to the market. The applications that Bryson spoke about are really GPU heavy workloads. We continue to innovate with Siemens on that front. And I'd say stay tuned. There's going to be, I think, more and more announcements and innovation in this space later this year. So I'd encourage the listeners to keep abreast of all that's happening in this space.
Very nice. Thanks, Bob. Okay, well, gentlemen, I hate to say it, but we're nearing the end. And I have one final question, and that's about the partnership and where you see it going next. And Bryson, I'll start with you. What's your take?
Yeah, fortune teller's never been one of my skill sets. So
oh, come on.
I won't pretend to know what lies ahead, but I'm definitely willing to bet that I think there's a quote out there that the only thing that remains constant is change, right? And that's really what the partnership between Siemens and AWS to me is about, is establishing this framework for the number one in cloud and the number one industrial software to work together on some of the toughest challenges that our customers have to face in the industry. So I think new technologies are going to come and new technologies are going to go. But ultimately, what remains constant is that customers just want to focus on accomplishing their mission. That's true for big enterprises. It's true for small to medium-sized enterprises. What we want to do together is make sure that we can put those technologies to work in applications so that companies that are small, delivering customized prosthetics like unlimited tomorrow at 80% the cost, can continue to do that for customers and patients without having to worry about what tech needs to be strung together. The day we're recording this, we're all sort of reeling from an IT failure that impacted air travel. Some of our customers are trying to design sustainable air travel, and they're doing that to get today in the industrial metaverse and optimizing before they build real planes. Some customers, like we talked about earlier with Vivix, are trying to unlock the next wave of productivity for their employees. And some of that's low code, some of it's AI. I'm sure there'll be new technologies that come together. And for today, we're trying to bring things like Mendix, low code, and AI together to help unlock the next level of human performance and productivity. So for me, that's personally the mission I'm focused on, is to bring amazing technology and applications together so that our customers can accomplish their goals.
Definitely. These are exciting and dynamic times for sure. Okay. Bob, your turn. How do you see the partnership evolving?
Yeah, much like Bryson, I'm not sure that I have a clear crystal ball in my hands either. If I did, I'd probably fumble it and break it on the floor. But I think Siemens and AWS work across a wide variety of dynamic industries and customers. And so, as Bryson mentioned, there's constant change, but I do think that one thing that'll stay constant, and one thing that I certainly expect, is our customers will continue to rely on Siemens and AWS to solve some of their biggest challenges. And they'll want us to do that for them in a simple, scalable, and secure manner. So we at AWS are squarely focused on doing that with partners like Siemens. We're incredibly proud of our partnership with Siemens and the cloud-based innovations we've built together. We'll continue to invest in multiple areas. We touched on a couple today, like AI and industrial metaverse, so that we can continually enhance these solutions enabled by our partnership with new capabilities that continue to allow our customers to capture the biggest opportunities they see in front of them. And that's what's really, really exciting for me personally in working as close as we are with Siemens Digital Industries Software, is the innovations and the impact we're having with our customers and the industry. So I think that'll continue to happen moving forward.
Wow. Okay. Thank you, Bob. It's such a wonderful relationship we have going on here. Just stay tuned. There's so much on the horizon for sure. So thank you, both you and Bryson, for joining. I really appreciate the time. You guys were great.
Thanks, Scott. So it was a pleasure to join your podcast, and I really look forward to the next few episodes in the series.
And I'd like to add my thanks to both of you, Scott and Bryson. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk about our partnership today and what we have coming down the pike. So really enjoyed it. Thank you.
All I can say is let's do more. Let's do more podcasts. Yay. So at the top of the show, I mentioned we're planning future episodes of Cloud Talk today. And listeners, if you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to listen to upcoming episodes, please subscribe to Cloud Talk today on Apple iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you go to get your favorite podcast. But you can also check out the links in this podcast description. My name is Scott Salzwedel, and this has been Siemens Cloud Talk today. I hope you enjoyed the show and that you'll join me again for our next podcast. Until then, keep your head in the cloud and your feet on the ground.